back of this group. A few riders still suffering as we make our way up this climb. But they're going to have to react now to Elisa Longoborghini. She's a rider who has been promising a lot over the last couple of years, and she is giving this full throttle as she goes uphill and gets now onto the smoother road, but it continues for a little bit before she can start to descend. Looks around to see what the gap is.
She doesn't look like she's tiring yet, so it's going to be interesting to see which teams take up the chase here. It could be Bowles. We see an Orica AIS rider there, Valentina Scandalara. She's doing it a little bit tough at the back on the cobbles, but it'll be interesting to see which teams it is that take up the chase, because Elisa is not tiring.
She certainly isn't. Well, the Bowles-Dolmans team will certainly have to chase. Longoborghini on the attack, going solo. Her teammate Jolien Dora in the peloton. Let's hear about her now.
I'm Jolien, 25 years of age. I'm the Belgian champion on the track and the road. Before that I was just a student physiotherapy, but now I'm a professional cyclist, and my ultimate goal is the gold in Rio at the Omnium on the track. A lot of my uncles are cyclists, so when I was young, when I was 12 years, I got a bike and I started cycling. When I have some spare time, I go out with my friends, just have a good dinner and have a good time. Yeah, my life has changed a lot. It's a lot of media, but it's good for women cycling, so it really helps us. It's getting better and better every year. We're getting more media coverage, more stuff on Twitter and social media. So it's getting better, but we still have a long way to go compared to the men. I can say I've progressed significantly. This year I made a step forward, thanks to my teammates, thanks to the team and a professional environment. I've never had the help like last year in the races from someone, and now I have a whole team around me, and that's a big difference. If you're individual in the final and you don't have any teammates around you, it's hard to win a race. You really need a team right now, and you need your strong teammates to win a big race. After World Championships, it's the most important race to me. It's on my home roads. It's the race I love the most. It's very prestigious in Belgium and far beyond, so I'm really looking forward to race it. I'm really going good on the cobbles, and some other riders who aren't used to it struggle sometimes on it, and that's helpful for me. The two teams, Rabobank and Bowles, they're going really strong with Lizzie and Elle van Dijk. Also Anna van der Breggen is really strong. We have Elisa Longoborghini, who is really strong. Also Giorgia Bronzini is getting better and better. So we have a really strong team, and I hope we can beat them.
"23 kilometres now remaining in this World Cup. On the horizon, the Haute-Quaramont and the Paterberg. That's the final two climbs of the day. Two groups on the road here. Elisa Longoborghini still solo.
We can see it's a team of Lizzie Armitstead there on the front, and the Rabo Liv team as well. They've got Pauline van Provaux and Anna van der Breggen still in this group. You can just see through there Jolien Dora. She's been able to hang on to this point and wiggle Honda up the road, so they're looking like they're in a very strong position.
Well, I just noticed Lizzie Armitstead talking into her radio again, asking maybe for a little bit of help and advice, because you're right, Rochelle, they don't want to tow Jolien Dora to the finish. She, of course, won the first round at Drenthe, where she beat Amy Pieters and Ellen van Dijk. There's the world champion. And at the front now, Bowles-Dolmans. Lots of conversations going on. Wearing number one, Ellen van Dijk, talking to her teammates, and now they've got to decide what to do.
Well, they look like they're in a little bit of a panic, because the closer they get to the finish and Elisa Longoborghini holds this gap, it's a very, very dangerous move, especially when Jolien Dora is just sitting there, because she has proved that she's one of the fastest, and a lot of riders were mentioning her before the race today.
Through Berkham, and next on the horizon is Quaramont before we hit the base of the climb, but as we now join Elisa Longoborghini, the rider from Varese. She is on the climb already. Magnificent to see so many people by the roadside, and Borghini sitting in the saddle using her pure power.
Well, this will be the test of how much power there actually is in those legs, because Anthony, I rode this just yesterday, and it's a very, very long cobbled climb.
It is the climb, the focal point of the Tour of Flanders for both the women and for the men, as Longoborghini goes through this wall of sound, making her way to the top of the climb. She must be really boosted by the crowd cheering her on.
She looks like she's really in the zone there. She's starting to hurt a little bit, so if the bunch is coming, they're going to close in pretty quick if she doesn't hold her pace. But she looks like she's in a bit of a rhythm there, so we'll see in a minute how hard the bunch are working on the front. But this is the moment they've got to go.
And this is the moment now where we see Lizzie Armistead there in the white leader's jersey, followed by Elena Amalusic, the Belarusian, and Jolene Dora now is being distanced by the front of the race, and that's bad news for Wiggle Honda. She has to stay there.
She absolutely has to close that gap to put Wiggle Honda back in the game, because if Elisa Longoborghini gets caught, it's all over for that team today. But Lizzie Armistead, she's taking up a lot of the work here.
She certainly is. So the gap back now to the Bigler rider and Jolene Dora. Another gap back to Emma Johansson. That's an impressive performance from her, the Swedish champion. But notably, Boels Dolmans, the rest of their riders being distanced by the effort of Lizzie Armistead, as Borghini now is almost at the top of the Ode Quaremont, picking her line left and right and going the best possible way to the top.
Well, she has said in her preparation, if she can get over the Quaremont with 30 or 40 seconds, that she's very, very confident. The Kuttersberg is a climb that she really likes. She's a powerful type of rider. And we see there a teammate, Chloe Hosking, who did a lot of work in the start of the early parts of this race.
Downhill now for Elisa Longoborghini, putting it into her top gear and just spinning the pedals over, just trying to relax a little bit. Emma Johansson, just bear in mind, this rider broke her collarbone 3 weeks ago, and she's back here in the race that she loves. A group now forming behind as we catch a glimpse of Longoborghini still going fast downhill.
Well, it's all playing into her hands at the moment. The gap is stabilising, so one more climb to go, and if she gets over this climb, it's going to be very difficult for them to chase her back. But we saw Lizzie Armistead having to take up a lot of work herself. No more teammates left over the Quaremont, so it'll be interesting now to see how much collaboration there is in that group behind to bring this back.
Longoborghini will crest the top of the Paterberg, the 10th climb of the day, with 13.3 kilometres to go to the finish. Everyone cheering her on. This rider, who was 8th in the World Cup last year, she's won the Tour de Bretagne and the Trophée d'Or, but now Boels Dolmans and also Lotto Sudal, Elena Cecchini, the Italian champion, doing a magnificent ride today.
Absolutely. She was the star of the World Cup Young Riders jersey last year, and she's had a fantastic effort today to still be in there. So her level has really lifted. We can see here Jolene Dora, she's struggling on the back. She's the key for Wiggle Honda, because if Elisa gets caught, she needs to be there for the sprint. But this is where all the other riders will want to put distance between that chasing group and Jolene Dora.
There now are the two riders who we often see side by side on the climbs. Pauline from Prevost takes a glimpse across at Lizzie Armistead. A gap back to Jolene Dora. Behind Jolene Dora, Elena Amalusic. Over the top of the Paterberg now. And the World Cup winner of last year and the leader, Armistead. Followed by Ferran Prevost. But this rider is on a mission. Elisa Longoborghini churning a massive gear. And she's into time trial mode.
Well, she's thrown off both of her bottles, so she really means business now. Look, here's the bunch chasing group. No Jolene Dora, so it's all up to Elisa out there by herself. But Lizzie Armistead taking things into her own hands.
So she launches a massive attack, immediate counter-attack by Pauline Ferran Prevost. She looks around for a little bit of help. Anna van der Breggen is still in there. Meanwhile, we go back to Elisa Longoborghini. Just looking at the style here on the bike, and notably, it's a little bit old school. No deep section wheels at all on this Colnago machine. How often have we seen Colnagos on the cobbles riding to possible victories?
We've just seen there on the blackboard, it's still 1 minute, and this group's got 2 Rabo Livs and 2 Biglers, so Lizzie Armistead's outnumbered. We see just behind another group coming back now. That could be the group with Jolene Dora.
So 45 seconds now. Under the red kite goes Elisa Longoborghini. She is heading towards a win in a World Cup. Behind her, Jolien Dora now has found her way back into the group. Meanwhile, teammates of Lizzie Armistead, having done their work, they're finding this too much, the pressure on in the chase. But Longoborghini's heading up the finishing straight.
She's been moving like a motorbike, and she would have pictured this victory in her mind many, many times in the last 24 hours.
Well, what a way to win a bike race, and what a way to win the Tour of Flanders. Soloing to victory over the last 30 kilometres. She looks around, all she can see is her team car and the rest of the following cars that have been company for this escapade. Elisa Longoborghini sits up. She wins the Tour of Flanders. The emotion now overcoming her. She is the victor.
Fantastic ride. She said on Wednesday that she felt good. Like we said, she wanted to win this Tour of Flanders. She had a 4th place in Chitilio. Here's the bunch sprint now for 2nd place. Her teammate Jolien Dora made it back to this bunch. She's had a very, very tough race, but Lizzie Armistead, she'll also, you always see a touch of the shoulders there.
Here we go now as we head for the sprint. Oh, Lizzie Armistead, I don't know what happened there, but here we go, heading towards the finish line. Armistead is out of this one. She's now sprinting again, but Jolien Dora of Wiggle Honda, the Belgian champion, looks like she's going to give them a 1-2. What a stunning day for the riders in black. Wiggle Honda take 1-2 in the Tour of Flanders.
She can't believe it. She's had the ride of her life today. She knew she could do it, but this early in her career, she's got a long way to go. But Tour of Flanders, she's won the Chitilio World Cup as well. She's very, very emotional.
Tears of joy then for Elisa Longoborghini. She wins 43 seconds ahead of her teammate Jolien Dora and Anna van der Breggen in 3rd place. In the top 20, Emma Johansson, 13th place. A tremendous ride by her after breaking her collarbone, but the day belongs to Wiggle Honda.
Oh my God! Yesterday, Audrey Cordon got sick, and we as team promised her to win the race. And today I was talking to Georgia, and she said, "Elisa, you think too much. You are a person that thinks too much. Just follow your instinct." And after Canarieberg, I felt like going, and I went, and I pushed until the end.
But it was a long, long solo. Was there any moment that you thought, I'm going to take this?
From the first moment when I attacked, I said, I want to win, and I will win. But I thought on Quaremont that maybe they would have catch me, but I was sure that Jolien would have been there, so I was confident, and I really wanted to win, and I'm hungry. I just want to win races. I'm an athlete.
Well, this athlete's just won the biggest race of her career, flanked by Jolien Dora and Anna van der Breggen.
Elisa deserved it so much. She was super strong. She said to me during the race, I'm feeling really, really good, and we had full confidence in her, and she went very early, so I was doubting a little bit for if she could hold it to the finish, but she was super strong today, and I died like 100 times in the second group, and I just could get on, and with my fast legs, and I got second, so I'm super happy.
Jolien Dora takes over as the World Cup leader, but it could have been very different if it hadn't been for this.
Oh, she's just clipped the side of Ashley Moolman, and it's cost her the World Cup jersey, but she's done well to hold it up.
Here's the standings then after round 3. Jolien Dora now leads with 220 points, Lizzie Armistead in second with 195, and today's winner, Longoborghini, in third. Here she is then in the white World Cup leaders jersey, all smiles in Belgium for Jolien Dora.
Rosella Rato, she's finished 25th today to hold on to the Young Riders jersey. A fantastic start to the season.
And so to the Suffer Prize, presented by the Sufferfest, awarded today to Annemiek van Vleuten for her exploits out on the course, the solo attack, and eventually finishing 4th.
Thank you, but normally I'm always backwards under my bike was on the Canarieberg. They caught me and I was already in front, and I was really suffering there to hang on because they came over me. I wanted to go on the top alone, and then, but they were already a little bit more early, so I was like that, but I could hang on, so.
there's going to be more suffering in the flesh. Full on the